No, I was a number.
Were you psychologically, do you think there was, we heard of some really horrendous things happening.
Yeah.
So people who get really in debt in terms of physical abuse. Perhaps it didn't come to that.
It didn't come to that. I was getting a letter.
Felt tormented.
Yeah, letter after letter after letter. If you don't pay, we'll do this. If you don't pay, we'll do this. And it is scary. I'm lucky that I had done a law degree earlier on in my career, and so I kind of knew the tactics that were used. But yeah, it wasn't an easy time.
So you grew up from humble beginnings in Lincolnshire. You got yourself a law degree. It didn't mean you weren't subject to financial issues when you had your small kids and you'd been, unfortunately, divorced. How did you turn your life around to build Lisa Johnson's Strategy? It's, you know, a well-known strategy company in the business sphere. What was it about you that made you do that?
I think necessity. So I didn't get my law degree until much later in life, and I got it while working full-time as a PA.
That's tough.
It was tough, but I had to do something to try and get me, you know, out of the position I was in. But even when I did that, there were no jobs because there were so many people going for these law degrees, and I was a mum of 2 kids. And so I was a PA, and I knew that I was going to have to save myself. There was no one's going to come and help me. I was going to have to save myself.
Lovely picture of your kids there up on the screen for people watching on television and online. I guess that's your real motivation, right?
It is my motivation, and I knew that I needed to do something, but I didn't really know what. And then I decided to start a business. And so my first business was a wedding planning business. I just chose it because I thought, you know, why not? It sounded fun. But I made every mistake that you can possibly make. I didn't know anyone that had been in business, so I was just kind of like winging it as I went along and learning. And I ended up at the end of the first year of that business realising that I wasn't doing very well. I was making £1.15 an hour in that business. I was never going to be able to leave my 9-to-5 PA job to spend time with my twins. And so I decided to learn everything that I could. I made this decision. I'm either going to have to live hand to mouth, always be in debt, same as generations before me, or I'm going to have to learn everything I can and turn this around. So I went to every free webinar online. I read every business book I could get my hand on. And eventually I turned that business around. And then people started asking me, how have you done this? You know, how did you start your business? And I started just telling them the things that I had learned. And I seemed to have a knack for telling them it without the jargon and without the complications. Just do this, this and this. And so then, about 5 years ago, I realised that if I was really going to clear this debt, I needed to do this properly. And so I went all in and said, right, I am now a business strategist. I'm going to help people with their business strategy. And started helping first hundreds, then thousands of people make money online, just using the knowledge that they already have in their head.
A lot of it is just having the confidence to start, isn't it? And having the confidence to say to people, oh, you can't do that. That thinking, well, actually, I can. It's kind of a determination, isn't it? A kind of stubbornness. Now, I know you wouldn't describe yourself as a particularly exceptional person, yet you've done it. So what would you say to people who are thinking, you know what, I want to do what Lisa's doing. I want to take control of my life and try and build a business that means I have the freedom to be the mum, the dad, the brother or sister, to be the person that I really want to be.
Because that's what it's all about, right? Like, if we really think about this, it's because do we want to spend all of our time working until we die? Or do we want to find a way that we're not trading time for money and we're actually spending time with our kids? And I think the reason that I was able to do it is because I had a tough childhood. I think that when you have obstacles in your life, when you start a business, things go wrong. It's not easy having a business. And if you've never had those obstacles, you're likely to go, oh, well, I tried, it didn't work for me. But if you've been through obstacles, whether it's illness, financial obstacles, I was bullied really badly in school, then I think you're more likely to say, okay, it's an obstacle, but I've had obstacles before. I can go round. I'll find a way through.
But we all know it's easier if you come from money, your parents can lend to you, your relatives can lend to you. If you come from a privileged background, you know, you've got the people you need to talk to sort of wafting through your living room anyway. You had none of that.
No.
You had none of that. Didn't you get a bit narc sometimes that you saw other people getting ahead because they had lots and lots of advantages you didn't have? Or did you use that as a sort of motivation?
I did use it as a motivation, but I will say I did used to feel like, oh, it's okay for her because, it's okay for him because.
But you don't get anywhere thinking that, do you?
No, you have to switch that mindset to, well, actually, I can
Why
do
not me?
this.
Why
yeah.
not me?
And I had to look for other people who had
Yeah.
come from backgrounds like
Role
me.
models.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to see, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. And it's why I'm so visible online now, because I want to show people that if I could, they can. And we don't have to be in this position. We can really try.